Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call this special meeting of the Planning Commission to order. It is Thursday, December 21st, and the time is 7:02. First item on the agenda is the roll call.
Commissioner Jeffrey Sims. Commissioner Brian Lowell.
I am here.
Commissioner Ray Baker.
Here.
Vice Chairman Patricia Corsick. An excused absence.
Excused absence, yeah.
Yes. And Chairman Jeffrey Barnes.
Present. Next, could Commissioner Sims lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please rise. Face the flag.
Thank you, Jeff. Next item, approval of the agenda.
I'll motion to approve.
Motion from Commissioner Lowell,
I'll second.
second from Commissioner Baker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next is the consent calendar, and I see no items on the consent calendar,
The two sets of minutes.
just the minutes. Oh. Need to indent that so I know it's a part of the. All right, approval of the minutes, and they need to go separately, correct? Together, okay.
You can do them together?
Oh, okay. Separate voting block, so. The first minutes to be approved, October 26th of 2017. We're in-
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Planning Commission of October 26, 2017.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Motion from Commissioner Sims, second from Commissioner Baker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries 4-0. Next, we have the meeting minutes of November 9th, 2017.
I'm going to abstain.
Commissioner Sims was not here, so he must abstain.
I'll motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Motion approved from Commissioner Lowell, motion is, or a second from Commissioner Baker.
Does Patricia need to be here to vote on it since she would make a full quorum for that?
Don't have a
four?
quorum?
You still have a quorum, having 4 people here.
Oh, I
Okay.
see. Just 3 voters, okay.
So 3 votes will still pass it, and there's no requirement that somebody abstain just because they weren't at the meeting. You can always familiarize yourself with the minutes at a later date, but it's customary to do so, so there's no problem here.
All right, thanks, Paul. All right, having a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3-0 with 1 abstention. All right. Next item on the agenda is the public comments portion of the meeting. Any person wishing to address the commission on any matter, either under the public comments section of the agenda or scheduled items for public hearings, please fill out a requests to speak form and pass it to the clerk. Do we have any speaker slips?
Yes, we do. We have 2.
2.
Starting with Rafael Brugueras and Kendrick Rivas.
All right, Mr. Bergaris.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners, staff, residents, and our guests. This month, the staff put on their website the ordinance number 926 on the website to be viewed by the city and the residents that live here, and all the new rules that you are going to be applying in the future as applicants come to apply for the marijuana initiative in our city. There's 49 pages of all the new rules and something that you need to have in your hand in the future to understand when the staff comes to you for approval. And the questions that you may need to ask to make sure that the applicant is going to follow the rules, because that's important. I know they're going to do what they have to do, because I've seen that already. But sometimes the applicants find a different way of reinterpreting a word, you know, or I didn't see it. Somebody didn't tell me, you know. We don't want that problem to happen in 2018. And I want to also thank you for all the work that I see in my city, for you guys, and Ms. Corso, who's not here, for your approvals, how we have this city now generated with excitement. And I hope the bill that got passed yesterday will even bring more entrepreneurs to our city and more development so we can have jobs, revenue. Because with all that, we can do things to better our lives in our city and our surrounding neighbors. And I thank you for your votes and your concerns. And I wish you and each one of you a Merry Christmas, because you've done wonders for us, this city. It all comes together at the end of the year, and this is our year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Bergeras. Next speaker.
Kendrick Rivas.
Good evening. I just have one quick question. I could speak whatever I want in this section, right? Okay. Good evening, Chair and Chairman and staff and my fellow American citizens. I started to get into politics about in sophomore grade when I first wrote a letter to the 44th President of the United States about physical education and how we should have more physical education all the way to the 12th grade. And since then I've been like, I got response back, but it was a stamp signature response, which means someone wrote a letter and just stamped his signature on it. And ever since I have a great love for politics. And in my senior year in high school, my U.S. government teacher had us like run for president, like a fake election. And every 12th graders in government classes were voting that school. And in the end, I won the U.S. presidency, but I would only like to say because I was in part of the other candidate was probably not prepared to deliver a speech that day. And second is that I'm so glad that that World Logistics Center hasn't been built yet. I'm very happy that every day in the morning in the eastern side of Moreno Valley, there's nothing but land as far as you can see. And I thank God every day to make sure the World Logistics Center has not been built. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Any other speakers?
We do have one more, Roy, but I'm unclear how to say his last name.
All right.
Blackert?
Blackert.
Blackert.
Late edition. Mr. Blackert.
Last Tuesday at the city council meeting, they addressed consolidating some of the commissions, and I made a recommendation that some of the other commissions and boards need to be looked at. And one thing I hope the planning commissioners and the staff will look at in the future, because the council indicated that they would look at this, is this planning commission specifically. It's got 7 members, or it's supposed to have 7 members on. It's only had 5 for a very long time. It should either... the council should either appoint 2 more people or cut the commission back to 5 members if that's what they want. So if one member here did not show up, you would not have a quorum and you would not have a meeting. If they cut it down to 5 members, then you could at least have 3 and have a meeting. They expressed that they wanted to do things more efficiently in the future in the city and make things run. So I believe they should either do either action to facilitate that, because we would not want a situation coming up where people had development projects up here and they couldn't be heard because they didn't have a quorum. So again, I would hope that the planning commissioners would relay that, staff would relay that to council, and hopefully we can facilitate either action. So when people bring projects up here, they will be heard in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blackert. Any other speakers?
We have no more speakers at
No
this
more
time.
speakers. All right. Moving on to non-public hearing items, we have none. So to the public hearing section of the meeting. Case 1, PEN 160107, it's a plot plan. The applicant is Gary Wang and Associates. Do we have a staff report?
We do. I'd like to introduce Associate Planner Gabriel Diaz, who's going to give you the staff report.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. There was a sheet, a memo set on your desk before the meeting, and there are some changes to the conditions of approval, or basically just clarifying the conditions of approval for this case. We'll start with that. Land development, there was missing some headings, so that was added to the conditions of approval. And then building condition number 24 was added to clarify, and the clarification a will serve letter must be obtained, and all applicable fees and charges shall be paid to Box Springs Mutual Water Company prior to permit issuance. And then that's building condition number 24. All right. The proposal is a plot plan to allow the development of a Winchell's donut shop and convenience store, approximately 4,263 square feet on a 0.6 of an acre parcel. The project is located on the northwest corner of Alessandro Boulevard and Day Street. The applicant representative is Rachel of Gary Wang and Associates. The project is located in Council District 1. The project property is basically rectangular in shape, presently vacant, although you do see a home on this older aerial, but currently it is vacant. There are a couple of mature trees adjacent to the western property line and some old stumps on the site that have been removed. The project property is zoned community commercial. Some of the surrounding land uses include multifamily residential to the north, which is zoned community commercial. A small grocery store, La Buena Market, is located immediately to the west of the site and is zoned community commercial. To the south, across from Alessandro Boulevard, is a self-storage facility, which is zoned community commercial. And to the southeast, there is an industrial warehouse facility currently zoned industrial. Immediately to the west across Day Street is vacant land owned by the city, zoned for multifamily residential up to 30 dwelling units per acre, residential 30. The proposal for the 4,263 square foot Winchell's Donut Shop and Convenience Store is located on the southeast corner of the property, and you have parking to the rear and to the side of the property. The main access to the property will be from Alessandro Boulevard. There is an additional driveway located on Day Street. Both entrances and exits are right in and right out. Per the municipal code, the parking on the site is exceeded. The requirement of 19 parking spaces is required. The project is providing 20, which includes a carpool and fuel-efficient parking space. The architecture of the building. There we go. The architecture of the building is a contemporary modern style with elongated pitched roofs and prominent entrance feature from the parking lot. The tower element is what leads the customers to the main entrance of the building, and you see that on the top slide. The elevations, the exterior finishes include a blend of earth tones for the stone veneer treatments, some fiber cement, vintage wood, steel awnings, and standing seam roof for the tower elements. Proposed project will add architectural character to Alessandro Boulevard. And the proposed project will add architectural character to Alessandro Corridor in the proximity westerly gateway to the city. Notification, public notice was sent to all property owners. Proposed project was posted on site and published in the press enterprise. No public comments have been reported. I've received no calls. Environmentally, the project has been reviewed in accordance with the latest edition of the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA guidelines, and staff determined that the project will not result in a potential of significant impact. The project qualifies as a Class 32 exemption, Section 15332 of the CEQA guidelines, as an infill development project. Therefore, staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve Resolution 2017-43 and thereby certify that the proposed plot plan is exempt by the provisions of CEQA and approved plot plan PEN 16-0107, subject to the conditions of approval. This concludes staff presentation. If you have any questions, open for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz. We do have a question from Commissioner Lowell.
On the architectural engineering plans G105, that has a copy of the conditions of approval, and they don't match what was provided to us. Is that going to be updated? Or if we approve it, is that going to be a problem?
Yeah, I wouldn't see that as a problem. It's just an administrative correction for it to be reflected on the final plan, so that we would make sure that happens anyway if there are changes that happen at this meeting.
Thank you.
Sims.
So, on the summary here, it references a Winchell donut shop and convenience store. So are these separate and distinct? It looks like it's one building, and is the convenience component of this project a separate standalone? And if so, what is being sold in the convenience component of this project?
It is all under one roof, and I believe it's maybe a new branding by Winchell's to incorporate donuts and convenience store. I'm not too sure exactly. Here's the floor layout. They do make donuts on site, and it's kind of more like your typical gas station that you go in the morning and pick up your daily needs or beverages. Kind of quick to get in and out, but it is being provided by Winchell's. The architect is here and could provide additional information on the items being sold inside, potentially, or specifics to that.
So is this going to be a liquor store?
No liquor store is being proposed at this time. If that were to happen, it'd require a CUP application.
Okay. The other question is, you mentioned in your staff report that the exterior architectural layout or, elevation of the building along Alessandro is going to add enhancement to the Alessandro corridor. That was one of the things when I became a planning commissioner. I've always believed that the entry portals into the city, especially the westerly one, is a sight for sore eyes right now on Alessandro. Is there an overall planning document or a plan for the westerly portal along that, similar to what happened on Sunnymead Boulevard from Day Street going up to Heacock. And the question is I don't have a problem with the elevation, but is there a plan that staff is working toward, that there's some consistency in it, as new development happens, it looks cohesive?
The answer is yes, but also some progress is being made. So the yes part of it is that we do have the Alessandro corridor study that was done a few years back that does address some of the aesthetic and the expected zoning and mix of uses that'll occur along Alessandro Boulevard. In addition, we have within our landscape standards, we've defined the types of street trees that we want along all of our designated arterials by name, and so we're following that. But to be developed in our strategic plan that was approved in August of 2016, we actually identified an initiative. It's a 3-year work plan item to develop a arterial, gateway, and freeway streetscape concepts. And so we are currently working with doing an assessment of what all of those gateways look like. In fact, I had an intern going out this week who's going out and shooting some photographs, and we're actually looking at the infrastructure, we're looking at the landscaping, we're looking at the maintenance standards, we're looking at the interface between Caltrans facilities, the off-ramps into this, and we're going to be working with our Public Works Department. And I met with our Public Works Director, I believe it was on Monday this week, to talk about this topic. So I know he and his staff are also looking at addressing that. And over the last year or two, we have seen some of the signage going up at Alessandro and Old 215, and you saw the new monument sign that went up on Alessandro here at Frederick. We're looking at trying to enhance the signage that lets people know where they are, and you're in Moreno Valley. We want you to be proud of that. So the landscaping and the signage features are all part of the progress that we're looking towards.
I would, this is off topic, but I do think that is something that the city should focus on. We're working hard, and one of the speakers, mentioned about all the building and whatnot. I mean, we want to make, when you get to Moreno Valley, you want to know you're at Moreno Valley, not being afraid to come in Moreno Valley, because when you're going through the gate, it looks like, oh, what am I getting into? So we should really work on that. Anyhow.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Any other questions of staff? All right, would the applicant like to come forward and maybe add to the dialogue?
Chair, commissioners, staff, good evening. My name is Lincoln Watase. I'm the president for Yum Yum Donuts. Winchell's is a DBA of Yum Yum, and question was raised about the project. I just wanted to share a little background or context. So it is a combination of a convenience store, fast food, and a donut, fresh bakery on site. So this is a new concept for us, and we're very excited about it. The idea is to achieve value for our customers and speed of service. So we're hoping that by providing attractive prices for our offerings, and by having that combination all on one side of those three revenue streams, that we would be able to have a high volume operation that is very well received and appreciated by the local community. Are there any other specific questions about the nature of the project?
What are the hours of operation going to be?
All of our donut shops are 24 hours, and that's the world that we live in, so we will be 24 hours for our customers.
Do you have any security concerns being open at 2 o'clock in the morning?
We have, that is what we do, and that is who we are. So we have a lot of experience in that regard, and so we bring that experience to bear if and when there is a special situation or an issue.
Well, once it's open, I will be visiting there after the
very
planning
good.
commission meetings.
Hey,
Bring some
very good.
donuts over
Yeah,
breakfast.
and also some good news. I brought a couple of dozen donuts as well, so
Nice.
we'll make those available as well.
We'd have to pay for those, right, Paul?
think they fall under the gift cap.
Ah, excellent.
Gives them to staff.
Oh, okay. All right. Any other questions for the applicant?
You know, I've got one question here, and this may not have anything to do with this, but it looks like you may have, there's some booth seating in there? For the
There's no
sit-down?
seating. As it's a convenience store, it's
Oh,
really
so
not
those are
compatible.
just racks for,
Correct.
got it. And no sit-down counter or anything, right?
No.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Commissioner Sims.
I do have, I don't know if this is best of staff or of the applicant's team. But in my prior life, I worked for a water district and have some knowledge of the Box Springs Mutual Water Company fire flow situation. And I do have concerns about the actual ability, whether or not, Box Springs issuance of a will serve letter, that's fine for domestic, but it has always been well-known at the city, at Western Municipal Water District, who is the wholesaler over the Box Springs Mutual Water Company that buys wholesale water from Western Municipal Water District to supplement its water supply due to high nitrates for blending purposes. So because of the infrastructure conditions in Box Springs, there has been issues of the ability for development within the entire Box Springs area, essentially from Old 215 up to Ellsworth, from Alessandro to Eucalyptus. This property is remote to Box Springs pumping, their tanks, and so forth. And so I do see conditions of approval in here. I just would be this, it's not to say this is a no vote for it, but I would be, as a fire department for the city, be very, very strenuous on the application of the hydraulics done, and have actual confirmation that the fire flow can, at this particular point, meet whatever the fire flow criteria is, because it is known to be inadequate in that entire service area.
Yes, I personally witnessed the fire flow test that was conducted for this site, and it passed, and so we were sufficient with the fire flow, met the fire flow requirement.
It's good. Then there must have been improvements in the last 3 years.
Well, we voted on an apartment complex over off of Eucalyptus by the elementary school, and part of the $400,000 that was paid to connection fees was to improve a chunk of pipe, and I think that might have been what we're connecting off of.
The apartments are over close in proximity to the tank, the pumps, and
Correct, but there was like 1,000 or 2,000 feet of 12-inch pipe that was put down Day Street, and I think that probably
that's
helps a
excellent.
little bit.
Good. Then I'll go back to sleep. As long as there's fire flow, that's good.
Before we get too far down the road, we, I think, have some public speakers, so I think we should move to the public hearing. Do we have any, do you have speaker slips?
Correct. I have two. I have Rafael Brugueras and Kendrick Rivas.
Well, I think I have to officially open the public hearing, and which I've done. Mr. Bergaris, come forward.
Good evening once again, Chair, Commissioners, staff, resident, and guests. I went to that site yesterday, and I was able to park my truck in the back of the lot where I believe is going to be the exit. So that was only, I mean, it's a skinny thing. It's only one car can fit at a time. That's for sure. I got out, couldn't get on the lot because I had a fence. So I want people to know that I was there. That's what's there. And then I walked all the way around. Then we have the grocery store on heading towards the freeway. As I kept looking and reading the staff report, I came up with 4 issues that I needed to clear up. And Mr. Sims did one of them, and that was the liquor. The word convenience is a big word. You know, they got convenience stores. Even at the gas station, they sell liquor and water and soda and potato chips. If this venture is going to be anything like the one on Chicago University, where they have hot sandwiches and donuts and all that stuff, it's a beautiful thing. And it's a small place. This is going to be bigger. So this is really going to attract that corner real well. And I'm glad that they chose to come to Moreno Valley. Really, I would love to see the project get approved, but I have 4 concerns. And the liquor one was one of them. And the second one was open 24 hours, because we're talking about Edgemont, okay? Alexandro, okay? We know the type of people that hang out there, and a lot of them don't live indoors. They hang out outside, things like that. So anything that's open 24 hours, I expect young or Winchell's to be ready for that, because we mentioned security here, okay? And I'm not saying there's going to be trouble, but you got people hanging out, looking to get out of the rain and out of the cold. You know, buy a cup of coffee and you can sit there for 2 hours. I mean, you know, it's done, okay? My next one was the driveway, one way in, one way out. Now, I'm not sure because I didn't hear it, I didn't read it. There's a bus stop in front of this project, okay? And there's the driveway that they're going to go in, the bus stops in front of it. So I looked and I said to myself, congestion, you know, because people are going to go in from Alexandria and come out through Day Street. But there's a bus stop right in front of it, and that's the entrance. I don't know if that's the entrance. I know you can't be behind. I know you cannot build behind it because you'll be now in front of the bus somehow. So there's a bus stop there, and you didn't see it, and I didn't see it up there. And my other one is if they do decide, and this gets approved, that they put up signs, entrance only and exit only, because these are small driveways that only fit 1 car at a time, going in and going out. So we know that people are going to try to get out the Alexandra way just to jump on that freeway right away. You're going to have many of those. Okay, this is Moreno Valley. This is America. People think they can do whatever they want. So if we put up signs, we can avoid accidents, especially on Alexandria, people going to the freeway, going to work. It's a beautiful project, but those are my concerns when I was standing there and reading the staff report. I didn't see some things. 2 things got clear up. The bus stop is one of them, and the signs is my other one. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Bergeras. Next speaker?
Kendrick Rivas.
Hello. Oh, most of the time that I'm in Moreno Valley, I do ride a bus and have been on Route 20, which serves Alexandro, and I've stopped on that bus before, and I've been on the bus when they have picked people in that segment of that bus stop. And the bus stop and the bus, the ones in Alexandro, is a 40-foot long bus, and I'm worried about not having enough room for the bus to come to a complete stop and trying to prevent from hitting a car, because I've been on buses before when I've known where a car goes in front of the bus and the bus has to stop immediately, and it's not a good feeling to be on the bus when that happens. And the second one is Alexandro. It's that is where the store's going to be placed is a 2-lane road. We all know that Alexandro should be like a 3-lane road. I'm worried about the space when we will need to build a 3rd lane on it. And I like the store, but it's too big on a small lot. I wish it would be on a different lot, maybe in the east side. That's one of my main concerns. I love the store. I would like to go in it and shop someday, but not in that location. It's too small and too big in that location. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
Not at this time.
All right. Would the applicant like to respond to any of the comments?
Good evening. My name is Rachel, and I represent from Gary Rang and Associates. The site is actually being designed for the highway dedication, and the bus stop is being relocated to the adjacent tenant as per the city guidelines that we received from the comments of the public works and traffic engineers. So Currently, the bus stop is in front of our lot, and that's the question between the city if it's going to be relocated, because per our plan it's not going to be in front of our lot no more. It will be in the adjacent lot. We designed our driveway on the Alessandro Street that it will be designed for the future development to be adjacent to the bus stop. However, at the corner on the top right corner right there, we're still trying to be ADA compliant for the sidewalk, but we could not touch it because of it's not part of our lot no more. It's the adjacent lot, and
All right. Thank you.
any questions from the commissioners?
I don't think, any questions?
No.
I think that covers it. Thank you very much. Any other public comments?
Not at this time, no.
All right. Well, we'll close the public hearing and deliberate. Any thoughts, observations?
The Alessandro Boulevard Day Street intersection is a metered traffic signaled intersection. Who's responsible for moving the streetlight to the ultimate location?
Good evening, Michael Lloyd with Land Development. This project, as you heard, will be dedicating right-of-way along its frontage. The site was designed for the ultimate configuration. There are no proposed street improvements with this project, so at some point in time, there would be a capital project, city project to finish out the improvements. The project would be required to pay DIF and TUMF, which are the fees that we would anticipate funding those improvements in the future.
Gotcha. The grading plans look like they were designing for the ultimate right-of-way and the ultimate improvements, but they're not actually building it. It's a future development.
That is correct. So the proposed right-of-way line that you see, they will be dedicating that right-of-way. They've designed the site so that it will work for future right-of-way. However, there are no proposed improvements along the frontage.
And are they going to be widening the driveways to realign with the proposed driveways? The existing driveways don't line up.
Correct. The driveways that you see are what will be constructed. I believe this is accurate. They are not proposed as one-way driveways. They should be 24 feet wide, which would accommodate two-way traffic.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments, observations? All right, I think we'd be open to that.
I'd like to make a recommendation that the Planning Commission approve Resolution 2017-43 and first certify that the proposed plot plan exempt from the provisions of CEQA as a Class 32 categorical exemption, being as an infill development. And secondly, approve the plot plan PEN 16-0107 based on the findings contained in the Planning Commission resolution and with substitution of the conditions as on the dais this evening.
I'll second that.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sims and a second from Commissioner Baker. How'd you do it? Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are having some technical difficulties tonight,
Okay.
Old school.
so voting is
Then we will
unavailable.
do the old school vote.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Roll call.
We're going to do a roll call vote.
Yes, we're going to do a roll call.
Commissioner Jeffrey Sims,
Yes.
Commissioner Brian Lowell,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray Baker,
Yes.
Chairman Jeffrey Barnes.
Yes. The motion carries 4-0. Congratulations to the applicant. Do we have a staff wrap-up?
We do. For the public and the applicant, the decision and the action taken here by the Planning Commission is an appealable action. If any interested party would like to file an appeal, they can do so within 15 days of this action. That appeal should be filed through the Community Development Director in a letter detailing the reasons for the appeal, and that appeal will be taken forward to the City Council within 30 days for a public hearing.
Thank you, Rick. Next up, case 2, PEN 160113, a plot plan. The applicant is Alessandro Moreno, LLC. Do we have a staff report?
We do. Gabriel Diaz will be providing this again.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. We'll start with the changes to the conditions of approval. For this one, there was only the amendment to land development conditions, and there was only the heading. The actual conditions did not change. They're attached. Thank you. The proposal is for a development. The proposal is for the development of a 5,430 square foot, fully automated car wash with vacuum stalls on a 1.68 acre site. The project is located on the north side of Sunnymead Boulevard, west of Heacock Street, and south of State Highway 60. It's on the 60 Heacock off-ramp, is directly to the north. The representative is Bijan, the applicant representative. The project is located in Council District 1. The property is rectangular in shape, presently vacant and flat. There are two signs on the property, and I believe one mature tree kind of in the middle of the property. The surrounding uses of the property includes a Chevron gas station to the east, along with Jack's Famous Burgers, and Jack in the Box, immediately to the east, fronting on Heacock. The Moreno Valley Plaza and related parking is to the south across Sunnymead Boulevard, and to the west you have automotive uses. All around the property, the project zoning is specific plan 204, community commercial, even across Sunnymead Boulevard. There's the zoning map. The fully automated car wash includes an enclosed building for washing of vehicles. Before entering the car wash building, people will pay at a service for the service and an automatic station, which will take your money, and there is adequately stacking for vehicles. The tunnel is approximately 130 feet in length, and the height of the entrance is about 10 feet. The height of the entrance has been mitigated for the sound attenuation of the car wash. The automated car wash does reduce the number of staff at the facility and the reduction for need of staff parking on site. The customers do have the option of continuing to dry off their vehicles and vacuum in the self-service vacuum area immediately exiting the car wash facility, and it is covered. It's covered by metal awnings. The primary access to the development is from the driveway on Sunnymead Boulevard. The driveway will be right in and right out and is controlled by an existing raised median on Sunnymead Boulevard. The project does have a total of 39 parking spaces, and for our code requirement for car washes, the requirement is only 12. The architectural design of the building is contemporary style with some flat roofs, some faux windows on the east and west elevation, and two tower elements for the entrance and exit of the building. The exterior finishes include a blend of earth tones for the paint, stone veneer, some metal fascia, striped canvas awnings, and a clay roof at the entrance tower and exit tower. The proposed project is infill development, is surrounded by current uses, and will fill in the empty lot on Sunnymead Boulevard. notification, public notice was sent to all property owners. The proposed project was posted on site and published in a local newspaper. I do have one call to report. I believe there was an adjacent car wash or a car wash owner in the area that called in and was concerned about the car wash. And I did let him know that the car wash is not a conditional use application. It is a permitted use. And he did say he would come to the meeting. I'm not too sure if he's here today. Environmentally, initial study was prepared. The initial study provides information in support of a mitigated neck deck with implementation of mitigation measures. With the mitigation measures in place, this will not have a significant effect on the environment. Studies prepared for this project included an air quality and greenhouse gas analysis, a biological resource assessment, a phase 1 cultural resource technical report, preliminary drainage study, a geotechnical investigation and noise impact analysis, and a water quality management plan. Mitigation measures are recommended for the project in the following areas: biological resources and cultural historical resources, noise, and tribal resources. The measures for the cultural and tribal resources have been included to address input from the tribal agencies. The measures are intended to ensure potential resources that might be discovered are protected. Therefore, staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve Resolution 2017-44 and thereby certify that the mitigated negative declaration prepared for plot plan PEN 16-0113 on file with the Community Development Department has been completed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. That the Planning Commission reviewed and considered the information contained in the mitigated negative declaration, and the document reflects the city's independent judgment and analysis. 2, adopt the mitigated monitoring and reporting program. And B, staff recommends that Planning Commission approve resolution number 2017-45 and thereby approve plot plan PEN 16-0113 based on the findings contained in the resolution and subject to the conditions of approval. This concludes staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz.
Thank you.
Any questions from the commissioners?
The cultural, San Manuel asked to be involved in the cultural analysis. Has there been any determination whether it's a culturally significant site? Looks like it was developed already, and I don't think there's anything crazy there.
That is correct. There was a cultural study submitted, and there was the outcome. There wasn't any significant outcomes, but we have 2 tribal agencies, the Pachanga and Saboba, who were involved, and those mitigation measures were applied to the project.
Any other questions? All right. Would the applicant like to make a presentation?
Good evening. My name is Sam, and I'm one of the principal with the Water Drops Express Car Washes. And if there is any questions or concern, I'll be happy to answer.
Doesn't appear to be, so if that's the case. If there's no questions, let's open the public hearing. Do we have any public speakers?
We do. We have Rafael Brugueras, Kendrick Rivas, and David Marshall.
Thank you.
Good evening once again, Chair, Commissioners, staff, residents, and guests. Okay, I went to this site, and the only way I got on to this site, I had to park my vehicle and Jack in the Box, and I walked over, okay? Now, again, there's a bus stop in front of this project again. And on the sidewalk, I didn't see any driveway on Sunnyvale Boulevard that will allow traffic to go onto the property to do business. So I'm not sure if they're gonna put a driveway. I don't know. Now, the only way onto that property, you gotta go between Jack and Jack in the Box, that dirt lot right there. That's the only way that you can get onto that property from Hecot. Okay? There's no other way. There's no bus stop, sidewalk, and that's it on Sunnyvale Boulevard. Okay? So I don't know what they're gonna do with that one. And there is a bus stop there, again, right? Bus stop night. Okay? I didn't hear anything about are they gonna be open 24 hours? Because this is automatic. And I know I saw that they're gonna have fewer staff because it's automatic. So I don't know if this is gonna be open 24 hours. I didn't see anything between 9 and 5. Okay, I didn't see that either on the staff report. Okay, I'm only going by what I can get out of the computer staff report. You may have more, they may have more. I'm only going by what I see and read. My second one is a big place. Are they gonna sell food? You know, shampoo, automobile parts. You know, a little thing inside. I didn't see any of that. Like a convenience stand inside. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do on the site. I didn't see that either. So if this is a car wash, I don't know if they're gonna have automatic machines where you put the money in and it drops out of the slot. Okay. Once again, this is son of me. Okay, Hecot, next to the freeway, and each one of us that live in the city sees the activities that go on that corner. I'm only thinking about the resident safety and their investment. I didn't hear anything about security. I didn't hear anything of that either. So again, I'm just saying that for whatever reason, our city has become generous, where people come and get things for free, and we have a lot of transients. You know what I'm saying? But we do have a fair share, especially on that corner. So I'd like to see that cleared up, the driveway, because I didn't see one. And if it's going to be 24 hours, are they going to sell food or product? You know, because if they have machines, then, you know, people like to break into things. I don't know what they're going to do. But I do welcome them, really. I am happy that they're going to fill up that lot. I mean, I do want them there. But I want to make sure that safety comes first, because there is the bus stop there. And that is the main street of our city, Sunnyvale Boulevard and Hecot. It's a pretty, pretty busy street. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Bergaris. Next speaker,
Kendrick Rivas.
Rivas.
Good evening. Since I moved to Moreno Valley from 2004, I have entered this year. I still live in Moreno Valley, but I used to live in the northeast side of the freeway, and that off ramp, I will, like, almost every weekend, we will get off that ramp and I will see that empty land and like a transient encampment. Like almost every 6 years, it will be cleaned out. And also there's a bus stop there. And that does not, like, I don't see like enough room to put a driveway in there. And plus next month, Route 19, which serves that Sunnymead Boulevard, will be increased to 15 minutes every bus from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So there will be 4 buses per hour. And I'm like concerned about like my fellow bus commuters, because I am mostly a bus commuter person in Moreno Valley. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public speakers?
David Marshall.
Marshall.
David Marshall, resident 12449 Lorraine Terrace since the 80s. 36 lots on Lorraine Terrace, 4 of them are owner occupied. There wasn't a single mention about the residents being in the neighborhood. The city has often overlooked us in their zoning or whatever. There's a stereo shop right down the street from me that puts in great stereos because I can hear them clear as day in my living room, but that wasn't a problem because they were zoned for it. So let's not overlook the zoning. Let's look at the residents that live there. Or just a mention of us anyway. We put up with all kinds of stuff already from the automotive repair places there. Parking's been an awful problem that's been unresponsive from the city. Trash, abandoned cars, the 5 a.m. trash pickup. Because it's a business, we're just the residents, we don't count. We'd like to see something done about the noise because behind us there is a storage unit and the Caltrans noise wall. We are built into a concrete canyon there. I can almost clearly hear orders from Jack in the Box. It is that bad. It echoes real bad in there. So I'd like to know what we're going to do about killing that noise a little bit. We've got the washer and dryers that are going to be there, the vacuums, car stereos. You know, what else do you do when you dry your car? You crank up your stereo. Leaf blowers at 2 a.m. cleaning the parking lots out. That's got to happen. So we got to take care of that. I put up with that from the people across the street. Then when it does come to the construction, when do they start? What time do you do that? What time does that stop? What do you do about the dust and all the related stuff with that? Like you said, there was no days, hours. If it's automated, if it's 24, that's just not going to happen. I can't do that unless somebody finds their little decibel meter all of a sudden and can put down that 75 decibels at the property line. You guys don't seem to be able to find that. Concerns about the trash that are going to come from there, the smell of the recirculated water. I don't know the oil separator in there, if that's going to be a problem. The security, like you mentioned, there are going to be lights there, bright lights. Am I going to have to put up with that, looking out my front door now? Are there going to be gates? You're going to be able to close it off? Oh, what else we got here? The traffic. The only way you can come out of Jack in the Box there is to make the right-hand turn. The only way you're going to be able to come out of this is to make the right-hand turn with the bus that takes up one lane of Sunny Boulevard. It's already a giant cluster. You're going to make that a little bit worse. Oh, flooding. We have a little thing we affectionately call Lake Lorraine. When the storm drains plug up, it gets deep. Last year, it swallowed a car. It gets that deep there. I can imagine with all that being concrete, the runoff there into the street, maybe I'll buy a boat. There are 3 gates now that go from the auto repairs open into that lot. Are they going to be open? Are they going to be accessible? Don't know about that. How many car washes do we need? There's 5 or 6 within a half a mile of right there. I mean, what happens when they all go under? What do you do with a car wash? What do you make it into? Just a thought there. And what am I going to look out when I open my front door? I mean, am I going to see a car wash? Am I going to see another 12-foot monstrosity and now I'm in front of my front door? I bought this property. I don't rent it. I bought it, and I need to be respected as a homeowner in Moreno Valley for once.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your time's up. Thank you. All right. Any other comments? Pardon me. Any other speakers?
Not at this time.
All right. Would the applicant like to respond to any of those comments?
I was just trying to maybe demonstrate a couple of minutes on it to make everybody to understand how these car washes are working. And then I want to address some
Sir, if you could pull the microphone down.
I'm
a
sorry.
little bit.
The most important thing is we're not 24 hours a day operation. We're opening up based on the daylight, mostly in summertime, probably between 8 to 6 o'clock, maybe latest 7 o'clock if the sun is still available. And during this time, winter time, we open from 8 to 5 o'clock, and that's the latest we stay open because it's dark and it's cold. It's not, we don't have too many employees. I can explain this to
Hold on a second, we'll get you a microphone.
Thank you, sir. These car washes are designed to provide services to the customers for maximum 5 to 7 minutes. That's how we normally operate. And we already have about 14 of this type of basically car wash operating, and we're planning of hopefully building one in here and hoping that we could just expand this thing within the area here, if that's going to get supported by the neighbors. Total number of employees working in these car washes are about probably 3 to maximum 4 people. And we were questions about what type of security do we have. We have the most sophisticated camera systems and security system. We have the gates for the entrance and exits. And we normally have someone who do the very silent cleaning and spending a night out there at our sites. Spending a night out there during the night, so he could do the cleaning and get the stuff prepared for the next shift, which is in the morning. When they come, everything is all ready to go. As far as the noise, that gentleman had a concern about the noise. The type of equipments that we have, I mean, as we go on, I promise he would never gonna hear nothing from our car wash to I don't know how far away he lives from our property out there. But recently there is basically a drying system that they came in the market, and we were the very first basically chain in the car washes which we are using those type of drying system, which are pretty much noiseless. I mean, you don't even hear anything from probably exit or entrance of the car wash enter into our facility out there. So I'm not really, I don't know what else I need to, as far as the parking, we were required by the city to provide about almost 12 to 15 parkings, but including all the stalls that we have for the vacuums, we have about almost 35, 36 parkings that we were providing. And everything else we provided at very exceeding requirement to the landscaping, to the area. And honestly, I think this lot needs to be improved, because the very first or second time I visited the site, I was a little bit concerned about homelessness and people out there. It's just like not a really a good situation out there. So I think we're doing something really good, and we appreciate if you guys support us to get on with this project. When I started coming here, I had kind of black hair when I applied for these applications, but it's almost 2.5 years or so. So we hopefully definitely looking forward to get some support from you guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, question to the applicant? Don't go away.
A question. So on the, would be the west property line that runs north and south, I don't have the section here going through the property. Is that what is that treatment there? Is that a wall or a block wall, or what is it?
Fred Scott is our architect.
Yes. Fred Scott, architect, Visalia, California, 1009 North Demery, Visalia, California. I'd like to address the entrance right here and answer your question also. I think the first gentleman that got up here was looking at how we access the site. There is a driveway approach right here. And that, so it's not across the other property line. Second thing, I think one of the other persons that came up addressed the vagrants in the area and things like that. We would like to cover the trash enclosure. We like to do that because that keeps vagrants from camping out in the trash enclosure. So I think that would help. The property line along here, we'll put a block wall up. Take care of it. So those are the, I think, the three main items. Yes, Sam?
What about the bus stop?
Oh, the bus stop. We're leaving the bus stop exactly where it is. Not going to touch it. But we'll do a nice driveway approach right here. Split median with a median in the center, and make it happen. We've done a number of car washes for Sam. All of some properties, and they all turned out very nice. I think it'd be a great, great addition to City of Moreno Valley. Any questions?
Questions? I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
When the patrons pay, are they paying a machine or paying a person?
I'm sorry.
I can answer that question. Right by, this thing work. Right in this area, when you enter into the car wash, before you get to the point of the tunnel, we have like 4 what we call the HDK, just like an ATM machine. However, you could pay that thing directly yourself, but we always have a person or 2 girls out there just greeting the customers if they have any issue, but just dispensing the money or a credit card, at least for first 6 months or so. And we normally have at least 1 attendant out there to greet the customers. We do have electronic HTKs out there, which does all the transaction for credit card or cash, and then they get the receipts. So they approach to the back of the tunnel, and there was someone out there by the tunnel to provide the direction to the tunnel, and then they drive their own car through and then driving back to the area that they could vacuum their own car and go. So we would have probably 1 or 2 employees here, 1 employee in front of the tunnel, and 1 person or maybe 2 person at all time to provide clean and pick up trashes and make sure everything is all, just in case if someone needs help or whatever in the back. Elderly people, handicapped, we always provide just a service for them as well.
Okay, and then I had one other question. Is the driveway gated so that when the facility's closed, people can't get into the parking lot or not?
Yeah, my contractor is here. In all of our washes, we normally have at the entrance, we have the post with the chain. It's not a automatic gate or anything. Well, we lock it up at night, and when we open up in the morning, we open. So there's a sign for the trespassing. Nobody can allowed to get in and out unless we open up the gates. And
Well, after hours, it's not a parking lot.
no, sir, not at all.
All right. Mr. Sims?
So there was some questions about runoff on Lorraine. I don't know what the issue is, if that's a CIP project or something in the future, or it's a Caltrans issue, the water's getting in Lorraine. But suffice to say, is there water, how's the water runoff handled off on this site?
That's for me to answer. We're looking at porous concrete here, trying to retain the water on site. The CBC 2010 code, California Green Code, requires retention on site. And then you pump it out after the storm so you don't impact your storm drain system. So we're taking care of that on site.
Okay, and the second question is on the water usage for the car wash, what percent of the water is recycled?
I can answer that question. We are recycling up to about 94% of the water. Actually, up to about 2 years ago, we were at about almost 89 to 90%, but the new additional tank that we were actually advised to install, so it would be 5 clarifier tanks that we installed, and by doing the 5th one, it's going to help us to save another 4%, which is unbelievably, I think it's amazing development to have every car that you're washing is about almost 6 gallons, 7 gallons or whatever that you could wash the whole thing.
Okay, and then my last question is on the blowers for the vacuum, or for the the vacuums and whatnot, are the motors and the
honestly,
fans
I
and all
know
that,
exactly
are those
where
in sound attenuated
I was
buildings?
honestly, I was just gentleman out there who had the concern. That's the last thing we wanted to do, to just be disturbing our neighbors or providing any kind of inconvenience. No, we do have what they call the silencer in our new vacuum systems, which honestly, I would have loved to invite, especially the gentleman, to come to one of our locations, which we have in Northern California, actually in Central Valley in Ventura County, and we're just for him to physically see exactly what we're doing out there, and he would have just had a different idea. No, we do have silencer in all of our vacuum system, which when we pick up the vacuum in order for the customers to vacuum the car, there's barely, you can't even hear anything going on.
Also, sometimes where we're, especially in a residential area, we've done sound attenuation walls out here. But this is not a residential neighborhood. So, you know, it's very minor by comparison. But in Fresno, we did on Shaw Avenue or Barstow, we did sound attenuation walls and solved the problem for us.
Well, the one gentleman probably would disagree with you he lives very close to the property and there's 4 or 5 residential homes there. But as far as that, as long as the sound is attenuated to whatever the appropriate code requires. And my last question would be, if the commissioners would indulge me, is on the on lighting and lighting. If you have hours where there is lighting, I assume there's going to be parking lighting and so forth throughout the facility. Are those going to be hooded and shielded so that there's not glare that comes off
Yes,
the
the
property?
2010 CBC, California Building Code, Green Code, requires indirect lighting. So it doesn't create glare to adjacent properties. It's required by code.
Thank you. Any other questions of the applicant?
Yeah, I got a question. You said that the on-site WQMP water quality management plan is going to be using porous concrete. And you're going to be pumping the water out after the fact? The WQMP doesn't show anything about porous concrete or pumping.
No, I think we have concrete paving right here, all through here.
Concrete is different than porous concrete.
Porous concrete.
City staff, is that true? Because I didn't see anything in here that says porous concrete.
A
No?
little more accurate depiction of what will be happening is,
Hang on. We got too many people talking. Michael Lloyd, please. Sorry.
a little more accurate description would be that the paved area will drain into the landscaped area.
Our
And
contractor says, I'm sorry.
Time. Mr. Lloyd, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. The paved area will drain into the landscaped area, be picked up by on-site storm drain and go into the basin. The basin would then drain into the triple barrel culvert that goes under Sunnymead.
So the bioretention in the WQMP is the accurate form of WQMP and BMPs?
You are correct.
And the porous concrete, although it would be great if they did, is not part of the plans?
You are correct.
Okay.
Okay, we've done both. Bioretention, you know, I'm not the civil engineer, but the civil engineer is designing it to beat the code.
Well, my concern is that you said porous concrete, and if you're proposing
Well,
porous concrete.
I was thinking, that was my thought.
Let me finish.
Of what we were gonna do, but I see it says concrete paving, and I know we do have bioretention.
My concern is that if you are proposing porous concrete, that needs to be addressed tonight. So by your statement, we're not doing porous concrete, no porous pavement at all.
We are not.
No, sir, not at all.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
Any other questions? None? All right. With no questions, we'll close the public hearing.
Before you do that, I'd like to respond to a couple of things just in case we want to have a little more dialogue with the applicant.
All right, go ahead.
As we're listening to the applicant's responses to some of your questions, some of the stuff is not consistent with what we're seeing on the plans, or what we've actually considered with the plans. One was the security at the entrance. There is no indication on the plans at this point that there would be any sort of bollards or chain installed. That would be something that we'd want to consider. We'd want our traffic staff to look at to make sure that they're placed appropriately so that there's no potential backing onto Sunnymead Boulevard itself. And if they were placed far enough back, that wouldn't create some kind of a trap condition because they do have a raised median there. So the location of any bollards or chains would be something that we'd want to look at. But if it's of keen interest to the commission tonight, because you are talking about security, we'd want to make sure that we draft an appropriate condition that reflects that so that we can work. It won't hold up the approval tonight. We could create a condition, but just want to make sure that we do it so that it's checked before the grading and the building plans and those things are permitted. With regard to the wall condition, I think the architect mentioned that they could place a block wall for some sort of noise attenuation or for whatever purposes along the west edge of the property. There already is a block wall between the two properties that's shown on the plans that's existing and is expected to remain. So we wanted to point that out. There would be no need to put in a new wall. With regard to the I think that covered it. I'm sorry, that was the things I wanted to cover.
Adding on to the block wall, they said there's a series of pedestrian access gates through that block wall. Are those going to be sealed off or locked, or what's the issue? What's the desire on that?
Currently, there is no proposal for that. Everything that's there will stay. That's a neighbor-to-neighbor issue. I believe they could, if they want to infill, they could do that or create a block wall to cover up those gates, or they can just lock those gates or keep them as is.
Can we go back to the gate issue real quick?
Bollards, right?
Well, is it something that we would have to, this is a general question, is this something that we would have to address tonight? Because it sounds like if they're proposing it and it shows up on the plan check process and the current code would determine that it's placed appropriately, and we wouldn't have to get into that specific detail, it seems.
We could draft it without having to get into the finite details, but as I took the pause and I remember what the other thing I wanted to say was with regard to that security gate from the entrance, the one other thing we'd want to check is with our fire department, because if it's locked and there is some sort of a need for an emergency response after hours, that our fire department would have proper access through that location.
Right.
So we'd want to vet that with them as well. The other thing, I don't know if in our staff presentation we had mentioned to you that you do on your dais this evening have a modified condition that it was similar to the previous project.
It was
So
mentioned.
if you want to go into that, did we mention? Okay.
Yeah, he did.
My apology. Okay.
Can I explain something as far as the security gates and chain? We normally place a little box on the side of these two posts that we have. And there is a code, actually lock, that it goes on the side of this post. And the first thing we do in all of our projects, we notify the fire department as well as the police department with the code. And we have a place out there on the site which they are aware of, just in case if they have an emergency, they're getting in and out. So we never had any issue as far as security. But however, you gentlemen wants us to, proceed with the security at the gates, we have absolutely no problem, but more than happy to just get it all taken care of one way or the other anyway.
Well, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I just want to make clear on this gate issue. It's only an issue tonight for this commission if this commission wants to require it. If you wanted to impose that condition that they have such a gate, we would need to address that tonight. Otherwise, if it goes forward as is, if a gate comes up in their plans, it'll just be dealt with administratively as part of the planning and approval process.
Yeah, that was kind of where my question was going, and it seems that that's appropriate to me, but if I'm veering into deliberation, I apologize.
Well, we're not deliberating yet.
Yeah.
So.
Is the security something the city thinks that this project would need to add the bollards and chain across the entrance? I mean, it's pretty atypical.
Like they would have requested it before it got to us.
Yes, this project was reviewed as an open project. The city did request wrought iron gates with pilasters on the east property, kind of add more security and prevent just people from walking from Heacock through the property onto Sunnymead. So that'll prevent that pedestrian access, or if you actually want to go do something inside this property, you have to do it from Sunnymead Boulevard, or you have to hop the two fences to get into the property. There is no mention of any gates or chains as far as this property is concerned. That might be a fire issue. Fire does have to come into the property, go north, and then there's a T up top so they can turn around.
Well, go ahead.
I just, I've been to the one that's on kind of these automated one. There's one on Alessandro, I can't remember the street, and then there's another one down by, I think there's already one on Sunnymead Boulevard, just up, west of this one, this proposal, and they're open. I mean, there's no. In fact, the one that's further up the street on Sunnymead, it's kind of like conjoined with auto repair shop, so it's kind of a wide open ingress egress. So I would think that the security would, for all the reasons just talked about, the getting cars trapped coming in off the street or all those kind of concerns.
Is
It's,
this, is the security issue something the applicant wants? Do you want to put a gated entrance, sir?
To be very honest with you, no.
Okay. I don't think anybody up here is
Yeah.
too eager to impose the condition.
I don't think we're advocating it, just
Okay.
a curiosity. All right, any other questions? All right, well then, let's close the public hearing and deliberate. So, observations, comments?
I think this project is going to do wonders for that little area. It's a homeless encampment that anything on that site could be better than what's currently there. I completely understand Mr. Marshall's concerns about noise. Unfortunately, he lives in a place that is surrounded by commercial and freeway, and it is a busy area. No matter what goes in there, it's going to add noise to the situation. I am sympathetic to your concerns, Mr. Marshall. I don't know what we can do to help you out. With that said, I think this is a good addition to the area.
Anyone else?
I like the project. I think it's like Brian said, I think it's a good addition to that area there. You know, the noise issues, it looks like they've got that kind of under control as much as can be, but, you know, you're sitting in a commercial area there, and that's unfortunate, but I think it'll be a good addition there to Sunny Mead Boulevard.
Can I ask a question of staff? There's a mitigation monitoring plan attached to this project,
That is correct.
and one of the issues is noise.
That is correct. There was a noise study prepared, and one of the reasons is when they originally submitted, I reviewed the project, and obviously I am aware that there is residential, so residential was a concern. And when I asked for further information on the noise of the machinery, and it did exceed the municipal code requirements. So a noise study was conducted and mitigation occurred, which the entrances were 12 feet high, the entrance and exit, and that was reduced to 10 feet. There was two at the exit and at the entrance. There's a 10 by 30 foot sound attenuation wall that is part of this project to reduce the sound and meet the noise requirements per our code.
Okay, so there are architectural modifications that helped address that, and with the plan in place, if there's a complaint, you have a mechanism to apply leverage. Okay, all right, thank you. Any other comments? Well, I agree with what you guys have said. That property's been an eyesore, sitting there on on-ramp for the 30-plus years I'm living out here. So I think it's a great project, and I'm happy to see that no longer dirt. So, a motion? Commissioner Baker.
I'll approve I move that we approve resolution 2017-44 and thereby, number one, certify that the mitigated negative declaration prepared for plot plan PEN 16-013 on file with the Community Development Department, incorporated herein by this reference, has been completed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act, that the Planning Commission reviewed and considered the information contained in the mitigated negative declaration, and the document reflects the city's independent judgment and analysis attached hereto in Exhibit A. Then number two is adopt a mitigated monitoring and reporting program prepared for plot plan PEN 16-0113 attached thereto to Exhibit B. And also in B, staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve resolution 2017-45 and thereby approve the plot plan PEN 16-0113 based on the findings contained in this resolution and subject to the conditions of approval included in Exhibit A.
And as modified by the revised conditions
Yeah, and modify,
provided prior to the meeting.
prior to the meeting. Okay, let's see, that's, should I put a date on that, or?
No, I think it's
Okay,
appropriate. We've-
okay. Just include the modified conditions applied to this particular.
And for clarity, the first plot plan for the negative declaration was PEN 16-0113. One of the numbers was omitted.
This one, okay.
Oh, you're picky. Is that past inspection, Paul?
As long as those resolution numbers are accurate, that's what matters to me the most.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Lowell. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Jeffrey Sims,
Yes.
Commissioner Brian Lowell,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray Baker,
Yes.
Chairman Jeffrey Barnes.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations to the applicant. Welcome to Reno Valley, and we look forward to rapid progress. My car's dirty. Staff wrap up?
Yes, for the applicant and the public's benefit, the commission action taken this evening is an appealable action. If any interested party would like to file an appeal, they can do so by filing that appeal within 15 days of this action. That appeal should be directed to the Director of Community Development, and if one is received, it will be agendized for City Council consideration within 30 days.
Thank you, Rick. All right. Other commission business? There is none. Staff comments?
Just want to wish you all a very happy holiday and Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in the new year.
Thank you, Rick. Planning Commissioner comments?
Echo the same. Happy holidays.
Same here. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year.
Well, in addition to the happy holidays and the Happy New Year wish and all that, I want to thank the staff and my fellow commissioners for their patience as I stumble through the process each meeting, getting to the finish line. So thank you all for your help, and I've really enjoyed it. So thank you for doing it because you don't want to. Anyway, happy holidays, everyone. The meeting is adjourned.